Good afternoon and welcome to the Peak Podcast. We've got another amazing episode for you guys today and really excited. We've had a great pre-chat and just excited. We are the day before Thanksgiving today, 2024, and a lot to be thankful this year and really ultimately thankful to have Barry on the show. So as a reminder, I'm the co-founder along with my business partner, Kyle, who's not here today. We founded Peak Fulfillment Coaching, which is a 3-day solo retreat program with a 90-day mastermind after you go through the program. And we love what we do, and we love doing this podcast. So without further ado, let me bring on Barry Saltzman. He is the CEO and founder of the Saltzman Enterprise Group, and we are excited to have him here.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show, Barry. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, Eli. This is awesome. Like, what else could you be doing that's more fun than this a few hours before getting ready for Thanksgiving?
I know. I'm really thankful for it, man. I'm really excited. Icebreaker of the day. We've been going through other shows talking about it. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish since we're in the season?
I would say sweet potatoes. Like a sweet potato served kind of like mashed potatoes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm a stuffing guy. Always been like stuffing, dressing. I don't know what it's called, something different. Just like the soft bread. Big fan, man.
Nice.
Love it. Well, Barry, thanks again for being here, man. We've got a 15-minute show here and I want to just dive right in. So tell us more about the Saltzman Group and what you're working on.
Yeah. So Eli, I work with small to medium sized businesses.
Yeah.
And I really focus on three things.
Okay.
I help businesses develop strategy.
Okay.
The second is I work specifically on sales and marketing.
Okay.
And number three, which is really the most fun and engaging part of my business, is working with individuals. Because at the end of the day, to be successful in sales and marketing and to execute a strategy, it typically comes down to people. So the people part is the part that's most exciting for me and sometimes the most challenging.
What is it that excites you about the people part?
Everybody is different.
Yeah.
Everybody is different. So they've got different personalities. They've got different backgrounds. They could be an old person, a young person. They could be a male. They could be a female. They could be from this part of the country or somewhere around the world. They've got different parents and backgrounds and beliefs and religions and philosophies. So every single person is very, very different, which presents an interesting challenge, right, for business leaders.
Sure. I love that. I love your perspective on that. I've always felt that, and I've read this through a bunch of books, but I really believe that everybody has that unique ability. There's only one Barry Saltzman out there. You have one way of executing what you are going to execute, one way to talk to people, one fingerprint, one eye retina. I mean, it's one of Barry. So what you have to bring to the world, like you said, everybody has something different, is a blast. I know we work with a ton of people too. We're in the coaching space, as you know, and I would agree with you. That's my favorite part about it.
Yeah, what's interesting, Eli, is if you think about all of us as individuals, we have a choice.
Sure.
Right? We have a choice on how we want to show up in this world. So we could show up as a hero, or we could show up as a villain.
Yeah.
And when you put us all together in a business environment, it's fascinating to see how managers, business leaders are not paying attention to what brings out the best in their people, and they wonder why people are not performing. It's not because they're not capable. It's because many times the leader is not pushing the right buttons to motivate people when in fact they're demotivating people.
True. Wow. Very cool. So what got you into this line of work? You say you've been doing it for a long time. What was the kickoff or spark for that?
Yeah, so about 20 years ago, after spending many years in corporate jobs where I was managing service organizations, sales organizations, I had a small stint as a CEO. I decided that I wanted to go out on my own. And I wanted to, my ultimate goal was to be able to have a positive impact on businesses that were in my community being, the Chicago market. And when I thought about what I wanted to do, to me, the most enjoyable part of my career was building and developing teams and watching teams succeed.
Okay.
So that kind of morphed me into the consulting and the coaching role. Was how do I help individuals and people be the best that they could possibly be. So I work with businesses and I work with individuals, both from a strategy and a coaching perspective.
How cool. Wow. Well, that's very, very cool. What was the kind of aha moment for you? I like to know what is the fuel behind that. And then was there a particular moment? Was there a mentor that kind of tipped you down this path?
Yeah, the aha moment for me was when I was on the other side of the table where I was the recipient of coaching.
Mm,
I was working for a large technology company. I had 1,600 employees. It was a publicly traded business.
yeah.
So I was in a big job, and it was extremely challenging. And my boss came to me one day and said, "Hey, Barry, why don't you go and get a coach?"
Mm,
So I went out and I hired a coach, which happened to be someone that I knew from 10 years prior. And every Friday morning at 6 a.m., the coach and I would have a 1 hour discussion. And it was just an incredible experience of it was learning how to deal with this, right?
sure.
It was learning how to deal with what
Mhm.
was going on inside my head and managing my voice and managing the emotions. And that just really turned me on to a different style of leadership and management.
Mm.
So when
How
I went out on my own, I'm like, I want to be like Steve. And Steve was the guy that was coaching me. I'm like, if I could do what Steve did to me to other people, that
yeah.
would be a very fulfilling career for me.
And you feel fulfilled. You feel that that is you could say that you live with fulfillment.
100%. When I talk to people that have achieved things they didn't think they could do,
Yeah.
reach levels that they never thought was possible, I love it. I'm never the guy that gets the credit, and that's cool. I'm always the guy at the end of when you watch a movie at the end of the credits, it's that last special thanks too. Um, but I know deep down inside that I played a small role in somebody's career, and it's extremely fulfilling.
Gosh, that's so cool. I love it. I mean, Barry, as you know, we're in a similar line of work, and my favorite part, and what I people ask me what I do, what we do at Peak Fulfillment, transform lives. We change lives. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And just I could leave it there because it's very true. And you've transformed a ton of lives. And our goal, I was just trying to transform one person's life. If I could make an impact in one person's life, that was a mark of success. That was a mark of fulfillment for me. And to be able to do it over and over and over, like you said earlier in the show, what can be better than this?
Yeah, and I had a recent success story that just makes me feel so
Please,
good.
can you share it?
Yeah, so I'm working with a young sales rep.
Okay.
He works for a technology company,
Yeah.
and about a year and a half ago, he was down in the dumps. He was underperforming. He was considering changing his career. After 18 months of working with this individual and really just helping him better manage his time, better manage his priorities,
Mm.
understand how to manage the voice in his head, I found out 6 weeks ago that he just closed the largest deal at his company. The company's got 20, 25 sales reps. He's 150% of quota, and he's a total different person. The confidence is oozing out of him. Um, and it was just such an awesome feeling to know that someone that was ready to quit
Yeah,
is
man.
now at the top of his game. And he gave me some special thanks. I said, "Well, I appreciate the thanks, but you did all the work, man." It was like, and it was just a great feeling to see that you can turn people around, and it does take time, though, Eli. This is not an overnight sensation, but a year and a half later to see what he achieved. That's why I do what I do.
Wow. How cool. Man, that is such a cool story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Wow. So, we got some more questions for you. As you work with people and people come through your doors, what is something that you're seeing like a consistent theme that people all could use, maybe struggling with? What are some roadblocks? Is there a consistency or a pattern that you're hearing or seeing in kind of today's world?
Yeah, it's a good question. So what I see at the leadership level is a lot of people are frustrated with managing their team.
Okay.
And the conversation's always about, do you really understand your team? And have you spent the time to understand what motivates and demotivates people?
Yeah.
So I see a lot of challenges there. At the lower level, there's a lot of brilliant young people, Eli, that want to get to that next level. And I've heard the word imposter syndrome many times in the last few months.
Yeah, a ton.
And and what I share with people is I didn't know what the hell I was doing half the time I was doing stuff. And you just have to have the confidence that you can make decisions and move forward. So none of us knew anything before we started doing what we're doing. We were not born with knowledge of the technology business or knowledge of leadership. And it's just trying to get these younger folks to understand that imposter syndrome is in your head.
Sure.
So I've heard that word a lot come up in the last few months, which is interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, that is an interesting one. You mentioned self-confidence when you talked about that. You didn't know what you were doing when you first started. What were some ways that you developed self-confidence and or teach or coach building self-confidence so people can jump off that ledge and do what they're called to do?
Yeah, great question, Eli. So what I'll do is I'll ask people to share stories with me about, tell me about something you did in your life that you were proud of, and they'll share a story, and they'll share another story, and they'll share another story. And then I'll say, Eli, it sounds like you've been extremely successful with many of these decisions that you've made.
Yeah.
Why do you feel this decision's not going to be the same? So, people forget about all the things that they've done, even when they were younger.
Hmm.
So it's just getting people to share examples of something they've done that worked out really well for them, and just try to build up their confidence that, hey, you've done this before. And I went through this. I went through this myself with my coach. There were many times where I was struggling with decisions, and the coach would say to me, "You've made many big decisions before.
Yeah.
How have they worked out? Why do you think this will not work out the same?" So we kind of forget because we're all very self-critical. And again, Eli, that voice in our head is meant to sabotage us.
It is.
So
Yeah.
we've got to learn to get beyond the sabotage and focus on all the positive things we've accomplished
Yeah.
in our lives and use that as leverage.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing point. I read a book. Are you familiar with a book called The Gap and the Gain?
I've never heard that. No.
Okay. So the premise of the book, and is something that we recommend a lot, the book, but with the teachings of it talk about we're always measuring this ideal or this horizon that we're always chasing for. And that's how we're measuring success from, if there's three dots, right? Where you start, where you're currently at, and then where that horizon is. If you're measuring from where you're currently at to that horizon, it's always this infinite
Yeah.
kind of pursuit of happiness, pursuit of excellence that you're never really going to get to ultimately, because when you do finally get to that mark or that goal, you're always going to want more. So it's creating this gap
Yeah.
in people's mindset that they're not successful, they haven't achieved everything, versus what you alluded to and what the book teaches, which is this gain mindset, which is measuring where you are today from where you started.
Yes.
That builds a ton of self-confidence. That look at this success that I built. I've stacked these wins. Man, 2 years ago I was right here. Now look where I am. People do not realize. I think it's a common mindset flaw that people do not realize how far they've come.
Yeah. That's a great point. What I talk a lot about with clients is you've got to really embrace the journey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because like what you just said really resonated. It's like I want to get to this
Yeah.
level, then this level. You're never going to be You're never going to be satisfied. To me, and it's embracing the journey. And if I translate it to sports, I play competitive tennis. I've been playing tennis my whole life, and instead of focusing on just winning, I
Yeah.
got to get excited about just playing and asking myself, did I did I did I perform at the best I'm capable of performing?
Sure.
And if I did that, that's got to be good enough. So you got to embrace the journey because the journey's never going to end if you want to grow.
Couldn't agree more. Who's your favorite tennis player?
Carlos Alcaraz right now was Nadal. Now it's Alcaraz. You gotta go for the young guys.
You got to go for the young guys. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. I've followed tennis my whole life. My family grew up in the tennis world. So
Yeah.
big fan. As we wrap up, Barry, if there was one thing you can leave with the audience, inspiration, tip, tactical action item, whatever it might be, what would that be?
Yeah. So the one thing I really want people to think about is when that voice in your head shows up and it starts to sabotage you in whatever way it does, whether you're not good enough, you're not fast enough, you're not smart enough. When that voice shows up, just remember that voice is not you. It's a third party, and you've got to tell that voice to be quiet, put it in its place. You got to like manage it like it's another person, and don't let the voice in your head confuse you to think that it's you, because it's not. It's meant to sabotage you, and we have to learn to recognize it and put it in its place. I actually give the voice in my head a name, and when it shows up, I put it in timeout.
Yeah, that's very cool. Barry, that is amazing, man. Where can people find you if they want to reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, so best way to reach out to me is just email.
Okay.
Barry@saltzmaneg.com.
Beautiful.
And my website is saltzmaneg.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, so if anyone is interested in connecting, I'm always happy to jump on a call, share ideas, brainstorm. So whatever I can do to provide value to folks, just reach out to me.
Love it. Barry, thank you so much for your time. We will make sure to put all that in the show notes, and we will get this out there, and hopefully everybody can reach out to Barry. So, Barry, thank you so much again.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. What an amazing episode with Barry. He is a phenomenal human and, again, very accessible. So reach out to him and he'll be there. Anyways, guys, remember, we are the founders of Peak Fulfillment Coaching. We lead solo retreats and a 90-day mastermind. So feel free to check out peakfulfillment.com and subscribe here to find more episodes of the Peak Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.